Okay. You in focus? Eyes up here. Welcome back to the Logging Off Podcast, episode 5? Something like that. With definitely no audio issues like the last 2 episodes.
Hope none. I'm debating if I'm going to put sweats on.
Oh.
I'm going to put sweats on.
Okay. So I'm in my regular evening adornment. A sweatshirt, some kind of comfy shorts, and my heated blanket, which is not on right now because we're talking. And it's also been hot, actually. It's been hot today. Right, Pippa? It's been so hot today. You didn't know about that. Think about me. Think about me.
Okay.
Have me espresso. And he's back.
And I'm back.
We are on our couch.
Yes.
Which is abnormal, but it's nighttime. And it just feels a little bit weird to set up at the table when this is where we are most evenings. On a big, comfy couch watching, what? Malcolm in the Middle.
Malcolm in the
Watching
Middle.
Malcolm in the Middle.
My Adventures with Superman.
Yes. That's about it, actually, right now.
Right now, yeah.
Yeah, because shows come out. We get 1 season every 2 years, and then there are 8 episodes, and then you just have to forget that they exist, which is so fun. So, yeah, someone asked me what I was watching, like what I'm watching currently. I'm like, at first I thought it was going to be an easy answer, because I'm like, I watch a lot of shows, but they're all over because they release all at once, and it's 8 episodes, and then it's done.
Yeah.
8 episodes of greatness, though, if we're talking about The Bear.
True.
So,
a lot of people don't share that same sentiment with season 3.
and they're simply wrong.
Yeah, they're inept.
I don't
They have
get.
no media literacy.
Yeah, I feel like people were just.
Oh no, they didn't exposit it for me.
Yeah, I just feel like people. Okay, spoiler if you have not watched the current season of The Bear, season 3.
Yeah, season 3.
I guess I'll try to talk about it with low spoilers. There was a setup that occurred, a big like goal that was set up at the end of season 2. So I feel like a lot of people were expecting to go from.
I'm sorry. I was like, why is this like? Why is your cable not in your face? And then I was like, oh.
Yeah.
So you're going to see in editing, I'm like looking back and forth, like figuring out what's what.
Well, I don't want to fidget with it, and I feel like the more I touch the moving parts, the more noise I'm going to make for no reason. So, yeah. I actually kind of like holding the mic like this.
Yeah, me too.
I feel like a lot of people were expecting them to meet that goal or to get like an answer on that goal by the end of season 3. And I just feel like, personally, I feel like that was a really like falsely idealized version of like reality, because I don't know. I think people were expecting too much of a cookie cutter black and white like hero story. Like, oh, he's going to get the thing that he wants. But this season was much more about the individuals, their backstory, and how it is important to now. And, you know, a lot of times when you're working on something big, you set big and lofty goals, and you're made to believe that you can accomplish the goals, but it's not always right away, especially something that big.
Yeah.
I thought it was really real.
Art in movies and television is always so interesting and different than like in music or paintings or any sort of like design art, because I feel like in those forms people are okay with sadness, but and like a feeling of dissatisfaction. But in movies and TV, like there always has to, like, a full circle has to come through.
Right, everything has to be tied with a bow at the end in some way.
Yeah, like it can be sad, but there has to be some sort of like
Yeah, aha.
Which
Champion moment.
Which I mean, the show's not over. So
Yeah,
it's like,
right. I think there will be a champion moment.
right.
Whether it may not be the goal that was set in season 2, but it probably, if not that, it'll be a personal one. Because there's, as much as there are real physical issues happening and like challenges with the restaurant, there's also just as many, if not significantly more, personal, emotional, mental struggles going on, interpersonal struggles.
Yeah.
Like that is, I would argue that's the restaurant storyline is like a conduit for the interpersonal stories that are being told. Like that's what makes the story rich, is the people. So I don't understand how you can get to season 3 and we finally get Marie's backstory. Is that her name?
Yeah.
We finally get her backstory. And it's so meaningful. And I'm so glad that we found out about it at the time that we did. I just don't get how you can be a fan of the bear and not understand why season 3 was the way it was.
Yeah. But we should stop talking about it because we're not on an episode about shows yet or movies. So that episode will come soon.
Yeah.
Maybe even next week.
Yeah.
But
this week, what are we going to talk about?
Still media, but music. But before that, we have to calculate something.
Yes.
So
we're going to do some calculations.
As you guys
really
know,
quick.
we have a nice espresso machine.
Yes.
That Dish makes a latte from, tea latte from every morning and usually every evening.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw this meme today that said,
it is part of my ritual, very much so.
When I told her we would save money making coffee at home, and then she asks how much we are spending making coffee at home. So I'll have Dara throw up the meme.
Oh yeah,
so
sure. So you can see the.
But
for our listeners, it showed it like a expensive pour over tools in the background.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So
expensive beans probably.
Let's see. I would say you probably, let's average you at 1.5 lattes a day. Okay.
Well, that's generous to me.
Really?
Yeah. I would put it more at like 1.85.
I'm talking like we're out on like days that we're gone and you don't make it like.
I don't know. I get my 2 lattes in almost every day.
1.85?
Yeah.
Okay. 1.85 times 365, 675 tea lattes a year. Times
That's so much oat milk.
4. We've had it for almost a little over 4 years now, so we'll just call it even 4. That's 2,700.
Oh my gosh. And that's you know what, actually? That's going based on these standards, because I used to make big lattes.
Oh, right.
I used to make not double the size, but it was significantly more milk and sugar. And sometimes I would even have 3 per day, which was not good. And I got too comfortable having an espresso machine.
So it's 2,701 estimated lattes since we've had the machine. And that's over the course of 4 years, because that's about as long as we've had it.
Mm-hmm.
And how much do tea lattes go for with oat milk on average?
Well, you add oat milk, it's automatically $1 more in most places. So I would say tea lattes range from like, with oat milk, $5.50 up to like, with tip, I paid $8.50 for a matcha latte at Intelligentsia.
Yeah.
Yeah. So up to like $7.50, say.
I'm gonna say probably like a $5.50 average.
Okay.
Let's say $5.25.
Yeah, we'll be conservative.
Yeah. And you alone have most definitely 2, almost 3 times overpaid for that machine.
No way. $14,180.25.
Yeah.
And how much do you think it actually costs? How much do you think one latte costs
here
in our
couple bucks?
Yeah, maybe $2. But probably less, honestly.
$2 is probably a safe bet.
Yeah. So, and yeah, I feel that's one of like kind of the weird items we have in our house. Like the espresso machine we have is a Linea Mini, and it is not an at-home espresso machine. Like
no.
not unless you just like have a full espresso bar in your home,
which we do.
Yeah, because we catered coffee for a while, which if you listened for a while, you already know that. And potentially goal of opening a coffee shop someday. So, but sometimes just out of context, I'm like, why do we have a Linea Mini in our house that I get to use?
Yeah, it's
every day.
It's hard because when you like look at it from just like a normal person perspective, it's like that's a lot of money up front to pay for an espresso machine.
Yes.
Like it was like what, 5,000?
Yeah.
And those are more expensive now. Like we got it when it was cheap.
Yeah, our model is more expensive now than it was then, because parts have gone up and the whole shebang.
Inflation and everything. But it cost us, I think it was 5,000.
Yeah,
and that's a lot of money, like on a one-time payment.
Big time.
And then
we opened a credit card, like a 1 year interest credit card to buy that espresso machine. And
then but I mean over the course of 4 years, and that's just your part of it. Like I don't have a shot of espresso every day. I'd probably put myself at like if I were to do that math for me, I'd put it at like half.
Yeah,
like
I
50,
make you.
Yeah,
I make you a tea latte probably three nights out of the week.
Yeah,
maybe
probably
3 or 4.
3 or 4 nights. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like someone commented on my video on a vlog the other day, was like, that looks like a really nice espresso machine. What is it? I'm always like, I feel a little awkward commenting the Linea Mini. I'm like, that's a $5,000 espresso machine.
Maybe for the optics, we'll just downgrade to a Linea Micra.
It's not representative of anything else in our home.
No, that's by far.
It is the most expensive item we have in our house by far. Maybe my PC is more expensive, but that was also I got that from a sponsor, so I didn't pay for it.
Yeah.
But it's probably besides like a car, that's probably the thing we've spent the most money on at once. But over time, made it back.
Yep.
2,000 lattes later.
Almost 3. But okay, let's talk about music.
Yeah. Tonight we wanted to talk about
the music that's made us.
Yeah. Album, the music that made me. Throughout our lives, from our formative years and then into adulthood, albums that have had a strong influence on us one way or another. So
we have some of them in vinyl.
We do. Yeah, we collect vinyls. We have a record player that we have slowly. Sometimes we pull stuff out of bins, and sometimes we'll get on like a kick and get some of our favorite albums on vinyl. Within
like a week, just buy like a ton of records, listen to them once, and then put them down.
Yeah.
But it's nice for when you have people over.
It is nice. It is actually, it's underrated listening to an album all the way through. And like having to get up to flip it and stuff. Yeah. It's more of an experience.
We just got to do something with this area.
Yeah.
Behind the camera.
You can't see
where the people sit.
Yeah, we're kind of in like a standstill with our house. Like most everything is out of the boxes, but not a lot of things are in their final place. They're kind of just like that mirror is probably not going to stay there. That lamp's not that you can see, but
yeah, it's just hard to commit to like.
Because you got to start putting holes in the walls.
Yeah.
Which somehow feels more significant at this house than it feels in apartments. Maybe because there's a possibility we'll get to stay here. So it feels very permanent.
Yeah. I guess so. I don't really feel
that's
that
just
way.
Me.
Yeah. It's just more so like, you know me and just putting stuff drilling holes in the wall. It's just
the comic display incident.
Yeah, the iconic one. It's just, yeah, I don't want to do it. I'll probably just call my dad and ask him to come over and and help me because I don't want to be the one who leads the charge.
You're understandably traumatized.
Yeah.
He
It's not even. Yeah, it's just that I just don't want to get angry again.
Yeah.
And I'm not good at it. Like, I always think I think I just get too impatient. I'm way too impatient for it. But anyways.
Yeah, we could tell them about the incident later.
The point.
Yeah, wasted. Well, this has been fine, but we're 15 minutes into the episode already. So maybe we should get to our topic. Okay, records. You have a lot more over there than I do. But that is because a lot of my formative albums are not, like, I don't listen to them a lot anymore. I still appreciate them, but yeah, only a few of them that I still, like, actively listen to. So since you have more, do you want to start? You want to start us out? Get mine. The orange pillow behind me, this is Murdy's, it's like nap time pillow. He'll sleep there, and he won't sleep on top of it. He'll sleep next to it, and he'll put his head on the pillow like he's a person. It's so cute.
All right. My first album. First two albums. I'll go this one. I don't care how long this episode is. We're talking about something we love. So
True.
This is the Low End Theory by A Tribe Called Quest. I bought this one and I haven't cracked it open yet, but this is in middle school. Well, let me start before middle school. Growing up, my parents, I feel like we're going to talk about our parents a lot because they're obviously some of the biggest influences on our music.
Yeah.
My parents listened to like pretty different music, I would say.
True.
My dad was like on this weird range of like rap to country to like, I don't even know what it'd be called, like Creedence Clearwater type set, like 60s, 70s. I don't know what type of like what genre that is, to Bob Dylan, and then so like all that's the same, but then it was just like rap was in there, and it was always like so random to me. And my mom was a lot more like, my mom loves 80s music. She put me on to like Michael Jackson at a pretty young age, and a lot of R&B. So I feel like A Tribe Called Quest, and specifically this album, is just kind of like an ode to like a blend of what my parents liked. Like it's hip hop.
Really?
It's hip hop, but it's like a little bit more like R&B funk sounding, and not like, it's just different than the rap at the time too. Like it wasn't NWA, it wasn't Wu-Tang Clan that like was kind of like dominating like the 80s and the 90s. Like these were a lot more, Tribe Called Quest was a lot more like tempered.
I've never heard it.
And not like hardcore rap. And the beats were not as like, yeah, I would say definitely just a little bit more of like funk R&B inspired. Yeah, I feel like this is just kind of like a clash of like my dad listening to that type of like a little bit more like heavier rap, and then the sounds of like smooth R&B that like my mom would play. And so if you haven't listened to this album, fantastic album. Scenario, you guys probably know the line. It's iconic. I don't even know if people, I like hear it in TV shows like pretty often. But Raw Raw, like a Dungeon Dragon. People will reference that line a lot. That's from Scenario. Check the Rhyme is another great song off this album. But yeah, so that's why I'm kind of starting with this album, is like it's a blend of kind of like and like an homage to the music my parents listened to.
Oh, that's cool.
So
nice.
And I like in middle school, that's like almost. I listened to everything in middle school, but I would say if you probably asked my mom, she would say that I listened to Tribe Called Quest the most, probably. Yeah.
Dang, that's cool.
So
I'm trying to think of, my parents also have very different music tastes. There's overlap, but like driving in the car with my dad is a very different experience than driving in the car with my mom. I can only think of like Phil Collins. I know they both like Phil Collins, but and they're very different too. Your mom is an R&B queen.
yeah. And Gloria Estefan. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I have, let's see, man, it's hard to decide where to start here, but I guess I'll go youngest. The first, man, this is like a very strong memory at many different points in my life. This is like an omnibus edition of the Flaming Lips, Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots. So my first memory of this is when me and my dad took Taekwondo together, and it's the memories of it are so foggy, and I don't even know if I've seen pictures of myself when I was doing that. Like we stopped before sparring, and I don't even remember the instances of that. But I do remember listening to, let me see. I remember listening to, looking for the original. Here we go. Yeah, Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots, Part 1 and Part 2. It's very eccentric. There's like not screamo, but there's screaming. There's like a very it's a song that you can hear in your, like you can see it in your mind. And so I remember that kind of just like as a fun way to get hyped up before Taekwondo. But this whole album, when I returned to it and listened to it as an adult, was really, really a profound experience. And it continues to be a profound experience. There's a lot of conversation about like what it's about, exactly like at what it's about at its core. But I'm not even going to spoil it because it's such a great story that you should listen to it and form your own like thoughts about it. But if you like conversations about artificial intelligence and morality and the future of like humanity and where humanity prevails and where robot technology AI falls short, you will love this. And just looking at the art, it's so this world is so real to me. And there's the original album, and then there's bunches of different versions and songs that didn't make the cut. So Joshua got me this 20th anniversary deluxe edition of Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots. When was that? For Christmas?
Oh.
Yeah, so this has meant a lot to me just throughout my life. And it's obviously also a special memory with my dad too. So yeah, Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots.
Yeah.
It's also, I think it formed a little bit of a taste for eccentric music. Like not quite ambient, but it's so story driven.
Yeah.
Like more story driven than any album I've listened to since. So. Yoshimi. Too bad we can't sing or play music during that. We recently got monetized on this channel recently, so thank you guys. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Thanks for liking and subscribing and stuff.
I gotta double check. I had to get it up, put it under review.
Oh.
Yeah, a couple days ago. So
we're probably monetized
yeah.
then.
All right, this next album is an album that you probably already recognize this if you know it, but this is the Beastie Boys first album. This album I remember listening to in middle school, and have only just like recently kind of revisited it, because I watched the Beastie Boys Apple TV documentary, and it wasn't a documentary, it was like the two band members, let's see, the guy in the middle and the guy on my left are alive, and then the guy on the right has passed away from cancer. And the two guys did like a little kind of reunion because once MCA passed, they had decided that the band was done and they weren't going to continue without him. So I watched that documentary, and I was just kind of like really impressed with their like maturity. So they talked a lot about like their growth, not just as musicians, but just like of their like mistakes. So there's a song on here called Girls that's pretty controversial.
Yeah.
And there's some other lines and other songs on this album that would not pass today by any means. And they've talked about how, you know, I mean, they were teenage boys. Like they were, I don't even think they were of age yet when they came out with this album. Like they were young. And they just kind of, in that whole documentary, just talked about their growth. And one of the lines from MCA that he had said, because they ended up making a song that in the 90s off one of their other albums, where they were talking about like respecting women and respecting mothers, and just a total pivot from what that song kind of Girls was about. And then he was asked in an interview like if he's worried about being like perceived as a hypocrite. And I can't remember the exact quote, but he said it was essentially something along the lines of, I would rather be a hypocrite than be wrong my entire life. And I feel like that's just something you don't ever hear celebrities like say, or like content creators say. And so I was really impressed by it, and so I went to go listen to it again because I remember listening to this album with my dad. I
have the quote.
Oh yeah.
Well, maybe, but in this effed up world, all you can hope for is change. I'd rather be a hypocrite to you than a zombie forever.
Yeah, there you go.
That's powerful.
That's a good line. So yeah, I've been listening to this and a couple of the other albums recently. Even though there's some dated things, I mean, you got to remember they're teenage boys, and it's still like it's such a fun album to listen to.
What is this called?
Beastie Boys.
Oh, just Beastie Boys. Is this the one with their big hits on it?
Yeah.
Okay, and didn't they say it was like kind of ironic? It was supposed to be ironic.
One of them is, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, one of the songs.
The party one, the big one.
Yeah. I'm blanking on the name right now.
Something.
You got a right to party.
Oh, Fight for Your Right to Party.
Fight for Your Right to Party. They said that they actually wrote that song ironically, like against kind of frat boy culture, and
but the frat bros didn't get it.
But then the frat boys didn't get it.
It's so
and
ironic.
They all like loved it, but then they were like, again, they're young, like
you just.
I don't even know if they were 18 yet, but they said when they started playing shows, and the frat boys were like the ones showing up, they just kind of were like, all right, like I don't care, like whatever. So then they just kind of sent it. And they're really like creative. Like they were like they were the first ones to like really pioneer like mashing up rock and hip hop. And I think that's why they took the world by storm when that album came out, and then they were instantly like globally like just the biggest band in the world essentially.
It's a lot of pressure for a bunch of teens.
Yeah. Well, and then they didn't break up, but they took a long pause after the first one. Because they said like they were so young and like they didn't really know how to process it all. So they got back and they didn't really know what to do. So they just kind of were like, okay, I'm just going to go live. Like I'm going to go figure that out.
It's probably for the best.
Yeah. So yeah, I have good memories with my dad with that. And it's just like, it's just a banger. Like the songs just jam. So
that's cool. Is this kind of the same as what I like? Similar. It was enjoyable as a kid, but took on new meaning as an adult.
Yeah,
especially because of the Apple, the Apple program, whatever.
The like little presentation thing. So
that's so cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
So my dad would have been there, like probably their age when that came out, maybe a little bit older.
Yeah.
So he was like
Yeah,
the
right.
target audience. Yeah.
Dang, that's crazy.
Your dad too. Yeah. Your dad was in college when this album came out because him and I have talked about this album.
Dang, that's crazy. Okay, so this is gonna kind of be a twofer. This is probably an album you've never heard of before, and possibly a band you've never heard of before, unless you grew up listening to Christian rock music, I guess.
Reliant K, baby.
Reliant K, yeah. The early 2000s was like the renaissance of good Jesus rock music that wasn't corny or stupid. So the primary album is by a band called Anberlin, and this album is called Cities. And then a tandem to that is kind of a demo album that I randomly found at the CD store called Lost Songs. And I'm putting them in tandem because Lost Songs, I think, was one of the first albums I ever bought on CD, like ever bought with my own money. And it's just because I knew a few songs from the Cities album, and a lot of demo versions from Cities is on Lost Songs. So, yeah, and that album, Cities, is so great. I think it's not as popular as a lot of the other Jesus albums of the time, but listening to it as a kid, listening to it as a teen, I could understand it to some degree, and listening to it as an adult, it continues to get richer over time. It's definitely like a unique sound, like the way that they phrase stuff is not always super melodic. So I imagine it just didn't appeal to a lot of people. But the reason the album was so profound for me was it's so honest, and a lot of it is about just struggling with sin and vice, and specifically with lust of the flesh. And I hadn't really heard, I don't think I'd ever really heard any band like singing about that honestly. And I don't think only a certain genres can, like, I think, really hit the frustration of the sins and struggles with lust. And I appreciated how raw and real it was, and I still do. And it's a kind of a weird album. There's some bangers on there though. If you are so inclined, there are definitely some bangers, and there's some really sweet sentimental love songs as well, on both Lost Songs and Cities. So that was a big one. That was a big one growing up.
Yeah, I never listened to it, but you've talked about it.
Yeah,
a lot. Amberlin wasn't like one of the Christian bands that
They weren't very popular in general.
Yeah, I was kind of like your basic youth group kid with like Switchfoot and Reliant K. And
yeah, those are both good, but more on like I don't want to say positive. That's not really it. It's like,
yeah, not the emo side.
Yeah, not as gritty.
Yeah,
Anberlin was very gritty.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I got my gritty.
You got your gritty on?
Faith-driven. No, I got my gritty faith-driven music later with another an album that
I'm sure we're gonna get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. So I'll just kind of add in something similar. Just it's not at all related to like that topic, but you talk about the first album that you got, and mine first CD that I ever bought, I remember with my own money, was Boyz II Men Evolution.
Nice.
And that was definitely like a direct influence, like from my mom. And I feel like I listened to that album a little too young. I feel like it made me like the emotional simp that I am today. So I could have probably gone with it a little bit later in life, but I
the
learned
boys
love.
were in love.
And
you were in love.
Yeah. with the idea of
being in love. God,
yeah, I
gosh,
didn't know
feel
what pain or any of that other stuff was.
I know, but you was singing about it.
But yeah, I was singing my little 7th grade heart out. That's for sure. Yeah, I got it in the Walmart CD bin.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. Something that's significant.
Yeah.
From the Walmart CD bin.
Yeah. So this next album. So growing up, I listened to a lot of rap R&B, I would say. And then like in middle school, I listened to, like earlier I said, Tribe Called Quest, and the other band I listened to was Metallica. So I was like a poser skater, and that was like, that was just kind of the music that I like. It was like every single Tribe Called Quest album, and then like every single Metallica album on my iPod, and that was like all I listened to while I skated. Then I got to high school, and I just kind of listened to like Christian rap and yeah, I would say I really didn't listen to too much music in high school.
Really?
Mostly just Christian rap, I would say.
Wow.
I think I was just too focused on like sports and
yeah.
Yeah. I'll say I was listening to music. I wasn't like actively finding new music.
Yeah, which was harder back in the day, by the way.
Yeah.
Like you didn't have Spotify for you, whatever day list. You don't have like Spotify AI making playlists for you every day. You had to seek it out. You had to get recs from your friends. You had to like maybe YouTube and Pandora.
Yeah.
Like the biggest places to get music.
Well, I think that's kind of why it wasn't until like my senior year maybe where like I had a Spotify account. Maybe I don't even know if it was that early.
I remember Spotify in my freshman year of college, so probably somewhere in there.
So what I do remember is like how I would find new music was Pandora.
Nice.
But the problem is like I had stopped downloading music from LimeWire at that point.
LimeWire?
I don't know if it like went out or like what happened, but I also couldn't like afford to go out and buy CDs. So I feel like in high school I was just like stuck listening to like what I had essentially.
I never used LimeWire. I always used YouTube to MP3.
Oh.
And I imported it to my iTunes and I did all the album art and all the details so it looked the same.
Yeah. Yeah, LimeWire was that was an experience. I just remember sitting like in middle school downloading like Airplanes by B.O.B.
Oh my gosh, yes, I had that on my iPod too.
And just downloading like all these songs, and sometimes they'd be like lower quality. Sometimes people
TikTok by Kesha. Did you have TikTok by Kesha on your?
No, I didn't listen to Kesha. Or like sometimes people would like put songs up and then you download it and it like was something very naughty, like
true
audio, not like a song.
Oh yeah,
and you're like, oh, I'm gonna die.
Yep, that wasn't what was advertised.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was an experience, LimeWire for sure. But anyway, so I'd say when I got to college, I was coming out of like my Christian hip hop phase, and because playing sports too, like that was like what was like hype music also.
Right. Right.
So Christian hip hop, regular hip hop, So then when I got out of high school, this is 2014, probably the year some of you guys were born. But or maybe you were like 3 in 2014. But that was like the time of hipsters.
Oh yes.
That was like
2014.
My aura changed from when I graduated to when I was a freshman in college.
I've seen pictures of those days. You wore cardigans.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a normie pick, but honestly, I still think that
it's not though.
I think that this band is still severely underrated. This isn't my favorite album from them, but I do remember listening to them, and I remember going to Walmart to buy this album. This is Babel by Mumford and Sons, and I just have to say, even though these guys took the world by storm and like were the band to listen to back then, incredible lyrics.
Yes.
Like so much depth. He's such a good writer. You always know a band is going to be good when the band are the writers and not some like third party producer or studio.
This is gonna be a hit.
you can bank on the fact that it's gonna be good. But I mean, every song on here: Babel, I Will Wait, Holland Road, Ghosts That We Knew, Lover of the Night. I mean, I'm just going down the list at that point.
But yeah, I listened to this in high school also.
So this in tandem with my specialty coffee new hobby was like I didn't dress like it because I just didn't think I'm a little bit of a chubbier guy and I'm Mexican, and so it's just like it's not the vibe. So
you heard it here first. Mexicans can't be hipster. You did have Clarks though.
I did have Clarks, yeah.
You still rock the Clarks from time to time.
Yeah, I had a Clarks, but it was like that was like pretty much as far into it as I went.
You did the Clarks. You did
Blank
like short button up short sleeves with patterns and stuff. Oh, that's so cute. No, that's a great album.
Yeah.
I remember listening to it when I went to London for the first time.
Yeah.
And it was very immersive.
I listened to it when we were on the tube.
On the tube?
In London, when we were going to the garden.
Way.
I listened to that album on the way there.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea.
My favorite Mumford & Sons album is Wildermind. They got the Bob Dylan treatment with that album. They were folk, they went electric.
Mumford gone electric.
And the audience tore them down. But have we not learned from the past?
I know.
That going electric is actually based.
Yeah.
That album is phenomenal, and it's a shame that you guys hated it as much as you hated it.
Not true fans. Man. Okay, I'm trying to decide where to go next. There's like albums that are tied to strong memories when I was younger, but aren't necessarily like didn't have like lasting impact. So I think, okay, the next one I'll talk about is Owl City Ocean Eyes. Yes, it is the album that had fireflies on it.
But not believe your eyes.
Yeah, if 10 million fireflies lit up the world when you fell asleep. Okay, so Owl City Ocean Eyes. You know, YouTube can strike us just for humming tunes. They'd be like, this sounds like a cover.
Your mom,
Shut
YouTube.
up. Yeah, okay, so Ocean Eyes. I was pretty angsty as a tween. I won't lie. I struggled to make friends, so I usually only had like one buddy friend, and I think for like the 10 angsty, moody albums I listened to, some of them being the Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, Don't You Fake It, great album, by the way. What's that one? What? Oh, it was like the emo album of the time. Therapy by All Time Low. I can't remember what the full album was called. I listened to that a lot. Ocean Eyes by Owl City was like it was like the happy music counterweight to all my angsty, sad music. It was very joyful, very hopeful, ridiculous, silly, funny, weird, but also some like weird, outlandish lyrics, but a lot of good stories on there too. So I don't know if I remember like a strong. I never had like a strong experience with this album necessarily, but I listened to it a lot, and I think I've always been very impressionable with music. Like listening to the wrong music, Peepa has decided to play with the loudest toy in the house. So if you hear some jingling, apologies. I'm very heavily influenced by the music I listen to, so I have to be honestly careful with what I listen to when. So I think Ocean Eyes by Owl City just helped lift my spirits a lot of the time when I was struggling to make friends or to keep friends or other issues, anxiety, stuff like that. So I appreciate it a lot. We'll always cherish it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Another album I haven't listened to.
Yeah.
Not a big Owl City guy.
You're not a big owl? What the heck?
No, I'm not a big...
How did you know our fandom name?
Who?
Big Owls. It's not what it's called.
All right. So I'm kind of just going through like a timeline of music.
Yeah, same.
Whoa,
baby!
This next album, I've talked about this on length in my stream in past years.
Mm-hmm.
This is Bad Sons, Language and Perspective. It's the name of the album. Nice little
baby.
They yoinked the New Mexico logo, gave it a little bit of flair, made it their own. I don't really know how I came across this band. It was probably just like Spotify something. Like a suggested song or whatever.
Yeah.
But I can't think of how I came across them. But this album, I would say, is a start to like solidify the sound that I think I would generally say I'm a fan of, like in my adult life.
You can kind of see a web of all the bands you listen to, and I would put Bad Sons at or close to the center.
Yeah. So this kind of like introduced me to just kind of like that indie vibe. The first time I saw them live, they opened for Halsey. So I also saw Halsey.
It's fire.
It was at the Shrine, the one on USC campus.
Shrine is on USC campus?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Or like in the area, but I'm pretty sure it's on campus. Yeah.
Have you seen the Halsey video?
No.
It's Halsey singing a cappella at the mall. I'll show it to you later. Yeah, I'll show it to you.
So that was a fun concert. Yeah. Oy. And then we saw them again. We saw 2 concerts before TwitchCon 2022, right? Remember that? Marcus Mumford.
Oh, yeah.
And then Bad Sons. Yeah.
I forgot that.
What a busy week. But
what were we thinking?
2 songs on here that you should absolutely 100% go listen to. And that is Transpose and it's falling. Transpose and Rear View.
Rear View.
Rear View is the last album last song on the album. I've liked all of their albums since except one, and I think they knew it was experimental. I think they knew that it wasn't like well received, and so they pivoted back in the next episode and went back to what they were really good at, or in the next album. But yeah, go listen to Transpose and Rear View. Those are 2 bangers. And Cardiac Arrest is also a banger. Go listen to the whole album, but yeah, I would say
it's short.
Transpose and Rear View. Also, I saw the lead singer driving.
Oh yeah, I forgot that.
where we used to live. It was so random. He had his dog in the car. But yeah, it was cool. So
it's fire.
Yeah. Bad Sons.
Bad Sons. Language and Perspective. And fun fact, if you scroll back on my main TikTok account, probably back to 2020, you can watch a short vlog about how I ordered that record. And so I used to give my dad CDs on his birthday and Christmas and stuff and Father's Day, because he always talked about how hard it is to find new music, at least for him. So I would order him CDs. I was like, oh, he'd love Language and Perspective. So I ordered the CD and they sent a record. I told them, I was like, okay, we'll send a CD. And then they sent a record. 2 records of the same album. So I don't know if we gave one away, but we actually have 2 still.
Yeah, we have 2 and we gave 1 to your dad, I think.
So you could see my reaction to receiving 2, and you can see my dad's reaction to showing him that they sent us 2 records and still no CD. Yeah. It's a good time.
You should like repost that on Instagram as like a throwback and see if they like comment.
Oh, this is a good idea. Yeah. I do need to start farming the 2 years ago. Yeah. 3 years ago. Meta. Okay, so, oh man, I have too many words I could say about the 1975. I'm currently holding
People
the
wants
Pink
to play.
album. I like it when you sleep, for you are so beautiful, yet so unaware of it. Ridiculous title,
She
but
brought you a toy.
oh, Peepa, do you bring me a toy? You want to bring me the cap? Come on, bring me the cap. I'll throw it for you. Oh yeah.
She's so cute. She
Nice.
brought one of the.
Hi, sweetie. She brought a feather.
She carried
To
it
play
in her
with.
mouth from the bedroom to,
Yeah.
or from the closet to here.
Yeah, with a little feather attached to the end. And like now she brought it up here to play. Sweetie.
Soon.
Well, oh my gosh, almost an hour already. Okay, so the 1975. I started listening to the 1975 2024 when I was in high school.
2024 when you were in high school.
So 2014 when I was in high school.
I'm in trouble.
Cut the freaking cameras. Bye. Okay, so I started listening to the 1975 because I got chocolate recommended on my Pandora. I think. Do not bite my feet.
She's not
Peepa.
looking at you.
I feel her scratching. So I like them from the get-go.
I mean, chocolate's a banger.
Chocolate's a banger. The Black album or the self-titled album is overall a banger. I remember when this came out, super anticipated album, and it absolutely met like all of the hype. And I remember I had just gotten that record player, and I ordered this on. I think I ordered this on vinyl. I think maybe I'd listened to the album once through, and I bought it on vinyl immediately. And I remember sitting in my dorm room, just like laying on the bed, listening to it with like, I bought nice speakers for it, listening to the whole album through. So yeah, that was, let's see. I'm trying to figure out how to best explain this. I've always loved the 1975 and I appreciated them so much growing up, or yeah, probably growing into an adult, I should say, because I don't know how else to explain it except to say that I think the 1975, their music made me feel not alone in like my feelings and the thoughts that I had.
Oh, she did it. Oh, she dropped it.
Come here. Give me the cap, sweetie. You have to give it to me, Peepa. Oh, sweetie. Come here. How do I say this? So I was still dating my high school boyfriend. In like he was 1 year younger than me, and I think I just still at that point just was shaping myself to whoever I was with or whoever my friends were, and I remember it was close to the time that I decided that we needed to break up. I remember listening to this album and like it was to the point that my desire to be accepted and be to adhere to the people around me went so far as like I was nervous to play music that I liked in front of other people in case that they didn't like it. And look, in hindsight, like the 1975 Pink album is not that weird. It's pretty, I mean, it was massively popular, but at least with the crowd that I was with at the time, this was just not the kind of music that they listened to. So I remember simultaneously realizing that I had kind of moved, I had grown up and grown, I guess, at least in a different direction from the person that I was dating at the time. And this album kind of coalesced in like I'm going to listen to this regardless of, what he thinks about it. So it was kind of this. I associate this album the most with just embracing my own interests and my taste, and just being my own person, or being myself.
Yeah.
I guess.
Such a good album.
This is such a good album. Oh my gosh. All the way through. This record is like one of my most, I mean, I've used it a lot, so it's not it's not in pristine condition, but it's one of my most prized possessions.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Pink.
Pipa brought up the...
Oh, Pipa. She, this is her favorite toy, if you can see. This is a pull tab from oat milk, and because I make lattes a lot, she gets a lot of these. So she'll actually play fetch with me. Soka, you want this?
All right,
She brought it up and I forgot. Come here. Bring it. Come here, sweetie.
I have 3 more albums.
She dropped it.
She's dumb.
Ready? You want to catch this? Ready? I hope you heard that.
I got 3 more albums left. How about you?
I got 1.
Okay. So I'll go 2, you go 1, and then I'll go 1.
Perfect.
Come
here. Get down.
So cute.
Ready? He's so cute.
Somebody, so what gave us the idea for this podcast is somebody commented on one of our other episodes and said, what was it? Do an episode on 21 Pilots?
Yes. Talk about 21 Pilots.
Yeah, talk about 21 Pilots. So this is a really good excuse to do that. So without further ado, I have here the Vessel album. All my clickies say what's up. Comment down below. Let us know you're here because I know the clickies are strong. This is the first, well, it was like the only album essentially. There was Regional at Best and Self-Titled out. But I heard this album shortly after it came out. A friend introduced it to me. And oh no, I guess it wasn't soon after it came out. No. It was like a year. It was out for a year. I think a year or so.
Soonish.
And yeah, me and my buddy, we used to ditch one of our classes in college. That English class that you dropped.
Oh.
We used to ditch that class and go to Starbucks and get it was in the fall semester. And look, I'll talk a lot of smack about Starbucks and how bad their coffee is, but
I think we've hit on Starbucks hate like 3 out of 5 episodes at this point.
But I'm a gas them up real quick. Their fall specialty Frappuccino, the salted caramel frap, that thing is bussin'. So
I've never had it.
Yeah, it's good. They put like salt in it. Yeah, the sweet and saltiness. Yeah. So anyway, so we would go to Starbucks and get that, and he was listening to them, and so he would play this album in the car, and that was how I first heard the band. And it wasn't until a little bit later where I actually like sat down and listened to the album and really like listened to what they were singing about. And just like everybody listened to like Fall Out Boy and just like the emo, Bring Me the Horizon, those bands in middle school. And 21 Pilots was such a different experience for me in relation to that genre because the songs always ended in hope. And that was such a unique thing for that like pop punk, emo, hot topic band genre. And I loved it. Because like my life is not despair. I have hope. And while I still have those feelings, like similar to like the Anberlin, like while you still have these like feelings of like life and vanity and struggle and all those things, like it doesn't mean that you're void of hope and of what's to come. And so to just like hear a band like singing those two things together, it's an anomaly like in the genre. So I instantly just fell in love with their music. And my favorite album, it's hard to choose. It's like, we don't have any kids, so I'll say it's like picking my favorite cat. Because I love them all for like so many different reasons. But I would say the writing on Self-Titled is like writing that you just like I always ask myself when I listen to that album, like, he was how old when he wrote this? Like,
right.
He's a phenom. Like, he's not a normal songwriter. Like, he's like a once in a generation writer. And I will die on that hill that he is truly a generational talent, and that he just doesn't get the flowers because of the sound that
sure
the band has. Ukuleles, drums, synth, piano, like just like a hodgepodge of all that.
It is a hodgepodge.
But yeah, I would 100% argue that he's a generational talent as far as his writing and creativity goes. And Self-Titled is just like the narratives in some of those songs. And he's a master of subtext and like saying things without telling you them.
Yeah.
And he's just like, yeah, he's so good. And then he's built this entire world. Like, now that we have Clancy, like, he's built an entire world that people spend, Tolkien writes 3 massive books about. C.S. Lewis writes like, how many books? Like 7 or something like that. Like, how many Harry Potter books are there? Like, people write so many books to create these worlds. And he did that, but in music and album form. And I think that's just like incredible. And
not a lot of songwriters do it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, like like what you said about the Flaming Lips and Yoshimi battles, like, they created a world for that album, and that's impressive in and of itself. Yeah. But to just like create a narrative over the course of a decade, like, is how long he's been doing it, or no, a little over a decade, 12 years, and yeah, so Self-Titled, I just love. Me and my buddy, he's a writing professor, and he's also a big 21 Pilots fan, and when it comes to mind, I'll probably text it to him after this podcast episode, but whenever we think of it, we always will text each other and say, Tyler Joseph was 17 years old when he wrote Trees. And if you're older than 17 and just think about what you were doing at 17, and like,
I'd rather not.
I was an idiot and stupid. I couldn't even, and he wrote Trees at 17. So, I love that band. I have the logo, the Blurry Face era logo tattooed on my tricep. They're one of those bands that they won't, the classic meme, if there's 1 million fans, I am one of them. If there's no more fans, then I'm no longer on this earth. Yeah. Yeah. And they could make the worst sounding album in the world and it would still be like a top 5 album for me. Like, that's just how diehard I am. And I think that they just address like the topics of mental health and faith in just such a healthy way.
Yeah. Truly.
And Neon Gravestones, like, just the time at which that song came out with 13 Reasons, and just the narrative online about suicide, and kind of that show definitely like popped open the lid for like having that type of dialogue. But
went about it the worst possible
way. And so we could definitely do a full episode on.
Yeah, we could probably spend 30 minutes just talking about Neon Gravestone.
Yeah, yeah, just that song alone. Yeah,
I have not heard a song tackle mental health and like how we think about suicide as earnestly and profoundly and hopefully as I have heard in Neon Gravestones. Like, it's one of those things where like I know that I could not put if I was trying to explain this sentiment, I could not put it into words, but he did.
Yeah. So yeah, shout out Tyler Joseph.
Yeah.
Shout out Jenna Joseph. Shout out their kids.
Baby Josephs.
And in tandem with 21 Pilots, I'll put Mutemath. Specifically the album Vitals. Paul Meany. She's just being crazy over there. I think that's his name.
No. Oh my gosh, she just tried to chomp down on the corner of my Pink album. No, people.
Yeah, Paul Meany of Mutemath kind of does a lot of producing with them, with 21 Pilots, and he did they did a collab album, Mutemath and 21 Pilots, where they remixed some Blurry Face songs. But Mutemath kind of isn't around anymore. And
really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
The drummer left and it just kind of wasn't the same.
Oh.
And Paul Meany just went into producing because, he's just incredible at production.
Normally you'd think losing a drummer would not be as detrimental, but for a brand like Mutemath, the drums is essential.
Yeah. So, but he came back and co-produced. He didn't co-produce Scaled and Icy, and I think that's kind of 21 Pilots, one of their least popular albums. But then Paul Meany co-produced Clancy, and every song on there is a banger. But anyways, so the Mutemath is just such a sentimental band to me because I learned of them through 21 Pilots.
Oh.
And then that was kind of our first hangout, was a Mutemath concert. And so specifically the song Vitals is, their whole sound is like pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? Not eclectic, but like experimental.
Yeah.
A lot of, just experimental. If you haven't listened to Mutemath, go listen to their first album and then go listen to their second album and third album. Just go listen to all of them. And they all have like a very different sound.
Yeah.
But Vitals is my favorite because there's just something so ethereal about the way that it sounds. And it always makes me feel like I'm floating. And so I love to just put like noise canceling headphones on and just listen and just like escape. I'll pick one album. Or one song. I'm not gonna pick one song. Stratosphere is really good. Safe If We Don't Look Down and Used To. Those are all off Vitals. I learned of them through 21 Pilots, and they're I think when they work together, both of them are like do some of their best work.
Mutemath.
I know that was still long, but
that's okay.
I'm keeping. I was keeping it short. That was keeping it short.
I know. Okay, this will be my last one. With one honorable mention. So this is a updated, or rather a bootleg version of a record.
Wait, the sticker.
What about it? You don't want them to see?
No. You opened it.
I opened it. This is Bob Dylan, More Blood, More Tracks, but this is an alternate version with alternate recordings of Blood on the tracks. So my dad, and I think both of my parents listened to Bob Dylan growing up and would occasionally play Bob Dylan in the car. And I could, as a kid, could never understand why they would listen to someone who sounds like that. Yeah. I mean, strangely, Bob Dylan can sing. Well, maybe not can, but could sing. But his style was intentionally kind of like, it's hard to even be objective about it now, but it's kind of weird. It's more of like a talking style, like
nasally a bit.
Yeah, very nasally. So I could never understand why my dad liked him so much until I went through my first bad breakup, and my dad recommended two things to me. One, to listen to Blood on the Tracks by Bob Dylan. There are a lot of kind of sorrowful tracks on this. I would actually say most of them are sorrowful. Shelter from the Storm, Simple Twist of Fate, Tangled Up in Blue. They're all kind of about...
If you see her, say hello.
That's oh my gosh. The lyrics are so... I was so grateful for how well his words was able to, I guess, encapsulate how I felt. Because I don't think you really understand how bad heartbreak hurts until you get there. And there's so much confusion and regret, and at least at the time. So at that point, purely by just reveling in the earnesty of his lyrics, I finally understood why my parents listened to Bob Dylan. And this really helped me get through that time and helped me all the way up until I found you, Ray. I guess we found each other. But yeah, this is, and like, just to talk about this album, so this is Bootleg Series Volume 14. Bob Dylan has recorded and written so many songs. It's like probably incalculable. Just if you count in the alternate versions, alternate recordings, like these are not just rearrangements. There are different lyrics in a lot of these songs. He'll record the same song, but it'll be completely different words, and it will take new meanings. So Bob Dylan in himself is such a treasured trove and has created so many pop hits that people don't even know how many pop songs, how many like culturally revolutionary songs were written by Bob Dylan.
All Along the Watchtower?
Yeah.
By Jimi Hendrix? Popularized by Jimi Hendrix is a Bob Dylan song.
Yeah. If You Can Feel My Love.
Yeah.
That's Bob Dylan. That would be, you'd have to give us a long time to talk about all of the impact of Bob Dylan. So yeah, this album is really powerful. I would still say now, Bob Dylan is my favorite artist. He is my greatest of all time artist. And I think that in hindsight, like looking at it all, this was the first time I went from specifically not liking an artist to loving and appreciating an artist, like profoundly. So this was one of the gifts my dad gave me at that time. And the other one was a movie that he loved. It's kind of an underrated, not really well-known movie. It's Kevin Costner's first film. It started as a student project, and it was directed by Steven Spielberg, but his name is actually not in the credits. Oh. He didn't put himself on it for some reason, which is probably why it's not as popular as it could be. But it's a movie called Fandango, and I won't spoil it in case you do ever decide to watch it. I would highly suggest that you do at some point.
Coming of age, right?
Oh yeah, big time coming of age. It's about a group of college students who are graduating, and they're all their paths are diverging. So they, in a kind of like a last hurrah, but also kind of running from problems, take this road trip to Mexico. And, you know, there's all sorts of funny shenanigans that happen along the way, but it's also about just, oh man, letting go and just the fluidity of life and people. And there's a gut-wrenching lost love story in it. So the reason I bring in that movie is because a lot of the score was done by a jazz musician called, his name is Pat Metheny, and the album as Wichita, as Falls Wichita, so Falls Wichita Falls. There's a few songs from that album that were, I think they were written, or I'm pretty sure they were composed for the movie. And I watched that movie for the first time when I was in the throes of heartbreak, and it was very profound, meaningful to me. So, and it attuned my love for improvisational jazz as well. Yeah.
It's interesting that we're probably not different on this, but it's something that you've like emphasized a little bit more is like music, specifically in relation to heartbreak.
Yeah.
Because I would say I definitely correlate music more so with like the inception of feelings and romantic feelings. Like,
interesting.
yeah, there's definitely like songs that were like there for me, but I would say like I kind of tend to draw more towards those other.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, the intro phase.
Yeah. That's
the hopeless. I think it's just the hopeless romantic in me.
Yeah, I mean, this one in particular, like that was the one and only breakup that was like genuinely long-term painful and like took me a while to get over. But like this, speaking specifically of the time period around the 1975 Pink album, that was it was a little bit hard, but it was mostly like a hopeful not self-discovery. It's, I don't know, it sounds so bland, but it's just like coming into myself, I guess, and becoming willing to be my own person, regardless of approval from other people. It was kind of set off by a breakup, but it wasn't like a mournful type of situation. But yes, these two definitely definitely were.
Yeah, I agree. I would put, on my Mount Rushmore of great songwriters, it's just Bob Dylan and Tyler Joseph. Like the other two, there doesn't need to be any other two. Like they're just that good. And you talk about just the amount of songs that Bob Dylan has wrote, recorded, re-recorded, remixed, whatever. He also has so many songs that he wrote that were never recorded. And one of them, or some of them, somebody purchased those songs and got them produced. And it's like a group, I don't know, it's called the Basement Tapes.
Oh, right.
And it's led by Marcus Mumford. And there's a couple songs on there that I love. And I love that it's Marcus Mumford because he's so good. I guess I'd throw Marcus Mumford he'd be like one of the ones on the back. It would be like Tyler Joseph and Bob Dylan, the two front and center ones. And then he'd be one of the smaller ones. But yeah, Marcus Mumford kind of led the charge for the Basement Tapes. And I'm glad it was him. Like, I think he's somebody who he revived folk. Folk was, I would say,
definitely under the radar.
Yeah. Dead as far as like pop culture and
definitely.
And Mumford and Sons like revived it and made folk cool again. Even if they weren't the first ones to be doing it at the time, they definitely were the ones to like make it global again. So I think there's definitely like a level of respect that he for sure had for Dylan and his work. So absolutely. I'm glad it was him. But man, there's a couple songs on that album that it's like I would just kill to have like to hear Dylan sing them and what his version, even if I wouldn't have liked them more, like even if I would have liked the Basement Tapes version more, like I still just want to hear what it would sound like to like it's his writing and you know to just see the full creative vision come through.
Absolutely.
So yeah, if you haven't listened to the Basement Tapes, that's all Bob Dylan songs, just led by Marcus Mumford and a couple other big musicians at the time. Like, well, not even like, I think Johnny Depp does some guitar on there. Like, it's a random, yeah,
What?
yeah. So, yeah, Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan.
All right, my last album,
Bobby Dill.
Bobby Dill. My
We
last
got
album.
to see him in concert.
Yeah, I haven't seen him.
Oh, yeah.
Who knows if that'll ever happen?
I know. I
Getting
checked
old.
the tour dates.
He
He was
just
still
came
good.
through.
No, he did?
Yeah,
Oh, no.
but it was for like a Willie Nelson. Like, it was like he was doing like a show with like Willie Nelson, and it was a Willie Nelson, like,
Oh.
I don't know if it was like a retirement tour,
It's fair.
but yeah.
Yeah, Bob Dylan still tours, and believe it or not, he still sounds good.
The fact that Willie Nelson still tours, that dude's
I
like
know.
90 something. This next album is kind of like I would say this is just where my music taste lands today. And this is a small band by still pretty small. And I heard this band. We went to go see Floor. If you guys know Floor, Flor.
Floor.
We went to go see them. This was right before COVID. And we were just married like a year. So pretty early in our marriage. And I was really into Floor at the time. And so they were coming to play in LA. And so I was like, we got to go. So bought tickets, looked up who's opening. And it's this band. And I listened to them on Spotify and I was like, they're okay. Like, Floor's better. And then we got to the show. And then we watched them play live. And I was just like, I fell in love. Like,
yeah, they rocked the house.
they were so good.
Their stage presence was also great too.
Yeah. Like, you would have thought, like,
Yeah, they're the headliners.
yeah, if you just like walked in, you wouldn't really know. Like, if you didn't know who either band was, like, you would definitely think like, so this is Joan.
Joan.
This is Portra, a collection of songs by Joan. I waited November, December, January, February, March, April,
forgot.
May, June, July. I waited 8 months, almost a full baby term for this vinyl.
Aw.
They came out with this on Black Friday, and they were like doing like I don't know if it was like a short print, but it was a limited time pressing of this little LP, and I ordered it on Black Friday because the intro song on this, Tokyo,
Yeah.
is just one of my favorite songs of theirs. So yeah, I will forever have a special place in my heart for Joan because just of what it was like. It was just kind of like our last big experience before COVID. And
Oh yeah.
like the last concert we went to for sure before COVID. And it was like the freshest thing that I had going into COVID. Like, and so,
Best experience to hold on to.
yeah. So, yeah, I think they've released like a couple EPs since then. And one album. So there's still, their one album came out only like last year. So still a young band. I think it was their first album. I could be forgetting one, but yeah, Joan. Early pre-COVID, barely pre-COVID, almost COVID find. So yeah, check them out if you haven't yet. Go listen to Tokyo.
Joan.
Yeah.
Speed round. Who are you listening to right now? List off a few things. Who or what?
I have to open up my Spotify.
I can go first.
Yeah, go first.
So because I work at my PC a lot and I have, I get really distracted by lyrics. I frankly listen to mostly instrumental these days. I listen to a lot of like movie, game soundtrack, ambient music So it's kind of weird. I can't really remember the last time I really gravitated or like kind of hovered on an album. But other than that, let's see. Listen to Leve, listen to Japanese House, listen to Medieval Hip Hop Volume 2 by Beetle the Bardcore, Yu Ping Chen. Yeah. But everything else on here it's literally all soundtracks, or it's like, I really like Chon, Chon. It's very sad though, because they're like a instrumental guitar, like electric guitar driven band. They broke up and they don't make music anymore. It's very sad.
So the last couple playlists I made is actually a return to folk.
Oh.
So it's a lot of Bob Dylan,
Okay.
Lumineers, Hozier, Mumford and Sons. Yeah, and at the time, that's when I discovered Boots of Spanish Leather from Bob Dylan. So I had that song on repeat for a while. So yeah, kind of like revisiting folk. And then like subsequent to that, I made a protest, like a playlist full of protest songs. From like, there's obviously a lot of Bob Dylan protest songs.
No doubt.
And there's one from Hozier called Knee Neck Ride Power.
Oh yeah.
And then there's a 21 Pilots song from Skilled and Icy called Never Take It.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I feel like that's just like with the political season that we're in. Just listening to protest music is just kind of the vibe.
Yeah. Gosh.
So an honorable mention that I have, if I had the vinyl for it, I absolutely would have chose it probably over Beastie Boys. But it's Ben Howard. What's the name of that album?
Oh yeah. The blue one. The water. Oh no, the black and white one.
Yeah, the black and white one.
Something
I forget
Minds?
where we were.
Oh.
That song is just like.
I forgot about Ben Howard.
It's just like his voice and the instrumentals and the lyrics are just so rich. His lyric, like that album just always makes me feel something.
Yeah, I was going to say, some of them I listen closely to the lyrics, but like when I listen to Ben Howard, it's much more about like the sensation of it. Like it's very atmospheric.
Yeah. I think he's in LA this weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Cool. Rivers in Your Mouth and I Forget Where We Were and Time is Dancing.
Time is Dancing
are just like those songs
take you on a journey to another planet.
That's just like turn off the lights, put on your over the ear headphones and just listen to it and just get away.
Yeah. I really like what is it? Lord Huron, yeah. What's the album called? Lonesome Dreams. I kind of mentally group Lord Huron and Ben Howard together. And like atmospheric. It's almost, I associate it with like PCH, like cloudy, dark PCH vibes, but that's just because it's close to us.
I associate Bad Sons with PCH, but as the sun's setting.
Oh yeah, mine is like cloudy, post surfing, tired. Sun is kind of already set. That's how I hear it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Laney is like downtown Santa Monica PCH.
Yeah. Laney, wow, we didn't pick a Laney album.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk at all about Laney. Also important. Had our first dance to Laney. That was a fun concert.
Yeah.
I went to
I've never been.
What?
I've never seen him in concert.
Yeah.
Oh.
I saw them in college and the crowd was so crazy that I almost got like lifted off my feet in the pit.
Oh my gosh.
It was scary.
He fumbled Dua Lipa and then wrote the most banger album of all time.
Thank you for fumbling Dua Lipa. Dula Peep.
Dula Peep.
Now we have our own Dula Peep. Who's finally tired out from all the fetch we were playing while Barry was talking about his albums.
Yeah.
Wow. That was the easiest
hour and a half
of my life.
Yeah. And that was all shortened too. Like,
I know.
I mean, we each could have gone.
Yeah. We could have talked about like specific songs and lyrics and yeah.
Maybe we can do a part 2 next week and we can just pick songs.
Oh gosh. Maybe.
We'll see what the reception.
Comments, yeah.
What the comments look like. Yeah.
Dang. Should we record all our podcasts at night on the couch? This is kind of nicer.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice.
I mean, maybe not this late, but yeah.
Yeah, it's just past midnight.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is fun. It was nice. I feel like I knew most of the things you were going to say, but I definitely learned a few new things about you.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Now I want to go and listen to all of these. All of these. I think the record player's hooked up now, finally.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We should listen to this Joan one because I haven't opened it yet, and I waited a long time for that
listening party. Okay, well, we can't invite you along to the listening party, unfortunately, because YouTube, the DMCA doesn't work together with YouTube at all for us. But thank you for listening. Thank you for watching.
Maybe as like a rough, like in like a year, if we're still doing this, which I hope we are, we can do like a reflection YouTube stream.
Ooh.
And we can like listen to some of these albums.
No, YouTube live strikes. We can't. It'd have to be on Twitch.
Oh, yeah. We can do it on Twitch.
We can do it on Twitch. Yeah, YouTube will just ding. Bye, your stream is over.
Heck you.
They don't do audio split.
Oh, right.
Not that Twitch would ever allow us to play copyrighted music or anything. Or not that I would ever do that.
No, why would you do that? It's a
nothing. I'm a law-abiding Twitch user.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would you play music that people didn't pay for on airwaves?
Yeah, they didn't pay their 30 cents to listen to the song that I like, so they don't get to listen to it. They don't pay my Duo Spotify premium price.
I'm genuinely curious what like artists think about it.
Spotify?
No. I mean, I know what some artists think about it.
About just the DMCA laws?
Yeah. I think you can definitely make the case that they make for DMCA on like YouTube videos. I think that's for sure. Like, but I feel like live streaming and live stream culture is just so different and it's unique that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe artists don't like when it gets played, but.
I can't imagine. I mean, when I have music playing, I usually have it. People can look it up in chat. Like if they like it, we share music. Like music is it's so about just like the shared human experience. Like to be restricted from sharing it is so like you shopkeepers don't have to pay for the songs that they play in their like stores. Maybe in the big stores. I don't know how it works, but I just feel like it's on the labels and the protection laws. Like it's kind of all or nothing. They don't want to work with like the creators or cultural like figures to help spread music.
Yeah. I know Kendrick, when like at the peak of their beef with Drake, he like wasn't striking creators.
Oh.
Making like YouTube videos out of the like beef and stuff, and I think Drake was. So I think he was like winning the cultural battle also on that level.
You know who also doesn't strike? Sabrina Carpenter.
Really?
Yeah. I have a cover, at least covers, like the cover that I posted of her song. I was fully expecting copyright sharing. No.
Wow, that's her espresso.
That's her espresso.
Yeah. And that's our espresso.
Our espresso.
Yeah. Full circle.
Our little espresso. Sabrina Carpenter.
Espresso at the beginning.
Our little espresso.
and espresso at the end.
Yeah.
Is that me, espresso? That song slaps.
It does. So I guess we could sing a full Sabrina Carpenter song and not get stricken. But maybe another time, because I feel like cameras might be on the verge of death, so
No,
probably
they're fine.
they're well. I guess we'll find out.
That one's got probably 20 minutes left though, because
Nice.
it just turns off at 2 hours. So
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Anyways, thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Would love to hear, get some music recommendations from you guys.
Yeah.
Love reading the comments on these, like more than any of my other channels. I love reading the podcast comments.
Yeah.
'Cause it's just great to chat and connect with you guys for hour 20 or whatever.
Yeah. Do you like our picks? Do you not like our picks?
Yeah,
Let us know that too.
for sure.
Do you heartily disagree with my Mount Rushmore of great writers?
Yeah. I'm going to disregard any opinion you have about my takes. So, and that's on, I like what I like, and no one's going to tell me otherwise.
Yeah. If you agree with me, you're a genius. If you don't, you're stupid.
You're
so.
stupid and you don't get it. Okay. Signing
See you
off
next
from the
week.
couch. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.